All right, so this is the last video for the week. This is the last video before spring break, even though it's a 4-day weekend. Still, you know, we're getting there. So I'm looking at my denominators. Obviously, they're different, but I'm hoping that at this point, okay, we can see that this would be a difference of squares. We got a square, we got a square, and we got subtraction going in between them. So we have difference. Oh, let's go with diff of squares. All right, so what we'd have is on the bottom, let's do it in blue, m plus 2, m minus 2. All right, and now up top, okay, we got to factor this guy. There we go. Why the pen's not working? All right, factor. My a is 1, right? There's nothing in front of m squared, so we're going to say that the coefficient is 1, which means we just look for factors of 6 that add up to 5. That would be 3 and 2, which I feel like has been happening a lot. But so we get m plus 3, m plus 2. All right, and then we have our second one, which we haven't messed with yet. Okay, so from yesterday, what we said was, okay, we have m plus 2, and we have m minus 2 on the bottom of this one, and we have m minus 2. So if we had an m plus 2 over here, then they would have the same denominators. So then we would have to multiply, right, by m plus 2 on the top. What's in red over here, that's equal to 1, because m plus 2 over m plus 2 is 1. So we have not changed the value of this second fraction, okay, by multiplying it by 1. But we have made the denominators the same. However, if you want to get really tricky, and maybe some of you guys already saw it, if we looked, right, if you look at your problem real quick, I'm wondering, and this is why, it'd be fun if we were in class, but the m plus 2 and the m plus 2, if they went away, what would you be left with? You'd be left with m plus 3 up top, m minus 2. My second fraction is also m minus 2. So you didn't even really have to do too much work. You could have just factored that stuff and then canceled out the m plus 2's. And now if we add our like terms, we get m plus 5 over m minus 2. And that's my answer, right? All I have to do is add my like terms to get my 5 up top, right? And again, when you're adding like denominators, you keep that same denominator over here, right? So you just do m plus 5 over m minus 2. So that one was actually a little bit tricky if you didn't see it and you did multiply by m plus 2 and m plus 2, it still would work out to be that in the end, okay? All right, 13. Unfortunately, right, can't factor the bottom. So what are we going to do? Well, if we had something like 3, 1/3 plus, something like that, right? How would we figure out a common denominator? Well, we could always just multiply them by each other, which means we would have to multiply the tops, right? And we would get 5 over 15 plus 6 over 15, right? And then we get our answer. So we're going to have to actually do that for this guy as well. We're just going to multiply. So we're going to multiply by each other. So I'm going to multiply this one by w minus 7 and w minus 7, right? Because what's in blue is equal to 1, so we're allowed to do that. And then this one by w plus 1 and w plus 1, because what's in green is also 1. So for the first one, I get 5w, if I multiply, right, I get 5w minus 35. And on the bottom, I get w minus 7, w plus 1. And again, I wouldn't FOIL this out just yet. All right, just wait for a second because sometimes stuff cancels out up top, which is nice. For the other one, I have w minus 7, w plus plus 1. And if I distribute the 8, I get 8w plus 8. So now, if I combine like terms, 5w and 8w give me 13w. Negative 35 and a positive 8 would give me a negative 27. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, sorry. And then on the bottom, I get w minus 7, w plus 1. All right, I'm just gonna look, and nope, there's nothing I can do. So yeah, so I think that's it. I think that's all I can do. If you know, if you're looking on your test or your quiz or maybe Delta Math or maybe, you know, Khan Academy or whatever, none of these are your answer choices, well, then let's just go ahead and FOIL this out and see what we get here. Okay, so yeah, that would be my final answer. All right, this one always messes up students because they see a B plus 3 and they see a B and they're just like, oh, let me just add 3 here. You can't actually do that. It doesn't make sense if you're looking at fractions. I'm going to spare you on that one because I know this video is kind of running longer than I wanted to. But whenever you're trying to make the denominators like, you have to multiply, right? So we have to multiply this by something. So unfortunately, right, we have B plus 3 and then we have a B. So what we're going to do is multiply this by the one denominator, multiply this guy by the other denominator. Okay, whatever we do on the bottom, we have to do up top. Again, sorry, over here, we got whatever we do on the bottom, we got to do on the top. So I get B squared over B plus 3. And we're going to subtract that with 4b plus 12. Okay. But since we're subtracting, just got to be careful, right? If we're subtracting, what I like to do is just change these to the opposite signs, just so that when we do this, we get b squared, it's minus 4b minus 12. All right, on the bottom, I get b plus 3. Again, on the denominators, I don't FOIL, I don't distribute until the end because sometimes some nice stuff happens. Like for this one, I see a trinomial with an a of 1, so let's figure out the factors of c that add up to b, right? My factors of negative 12 that add up to negative 4 would be negative 6 and positive 2. So up top, I would get b minus 6, b plus 2, and on the bottom, I still have the b and the b plus 3. Okay, unfortunately, nothing will cancel out here, right? Did I factor right? Yep. So yeah, unfortunately, nothing really cancels out, unfortunately. So we just have b squared plus 2b minus 6b plus 12 all over b squared plus 3b. So my final answer is b squared minus 4b minus 12 over b squared plus 3b. So again, I know some of you guys are saying, well, didn't we pretty much have the answer here? Yeah, we did. But again, it's always nice to factor just to see if something was to cross out. Because if there was a b plus 3, you know, if this was b plus 3 or something up top here, then you could cancel some stuff out. So it's always good to just check and make sure that you got the right answer. All right, last one. I'm just going to run through this really quickly because this video is getting pretty long. So I'm going to factor out a 4. I'm going to factor out factors of 15 that add up to negative 8 are negative 5 and negative 3. All right, so what is this one missing? This one over here, I'm just going to color code my factors. All right, hopefully it's a little easier to see. Right, so the first one, what is it missing? Well, it's missing the p minus 3. So I gotta multiply that up top as well. The second fraction, this one over, oops, sorry, that one over there, is missing a 4. So I'm gonna multiply the top by 4. So I get 2p minus 6. On the bottom, I'm just gonna leave them all broken up for right now. Again, just to see if anything factors up top, and then I can cancel them out. See if I can get this done quickly. Combine like terms, I would get 6p minus 30. Oh, I feel like something's gonna cancel out. All right, factor out of 6. Oh yeah, something's gonna cancel out. I'm just gonna kind of forget about the color for a second, just so that I can get this done quickly. Bam, bam. This and this. 6 can be divided by 2. 4 can be divided by 2. So I get my final answer, which is 3 over 2p minus 6. What did I just do? Well, I just multiplied 2p and 2 times negative 3 to get my final answer. And that is it. I'm done. Have a great sort of spring break.